Hello friends, my name is Ernst Veter. Surely many of you know me, but in this format you are seeing me for the first time, like this, on a chair in the studio. Today I would like to talk about some pressing topics. I will simply reflect on them, and you will draw your own conclusions. You can write your comments, you can also express your thoughts, but it will still be in the manner of a monologue. The first thing I want to talk to you about is a bit of what's been troubling me. I often receive messages from people in which they say that all I can teach are the super abilities that I demonstrate, because everything else kind of doesn't belong to me. What does that mean? For example, the course on chakras doesn't belong to me. I mean, it doesn't belong as some kind of monopoly on this information. I believe that this is also not entirely correct. I am simply expressing my point of view. I describe in my course how it works. I explain how I came to this. And additionally, I always provide assistance in reading chakras to create a chakra key and later a personality key. By the way, don't confuse them. These are two different things. The chakra key is the state of the chakras at the current moment. And the personality key is a bit different. The personality key is the combination of the chakra key and the key of the CD you are striving for. Because many people don't quite understand. They think that if they calculate the state of their chakra key now, that is the personality key. By the way, those who resell my courses, first they steal, then they resell. For some reason, they think that's exactly how it is. But it's not like that. It's not even close to that. So if you're going to steal, at least learn the information. By the way, those who steal, they know. They're watching me right now, and they know who I'm talking about. These were my former friends who managed to get close to me. Later, they helped me with some things, and as soon as I took a small step away from them, without removing them from the team at all, they decided to start sabotaging me. But God will judge them. I won't speak about them now, whether good or bad. Ultimately, the essence of our existence in this body is self-improvement. I started talking about the topic of chakras. I want to continue it. The topic of self-improvement. Without understanding what chakras are, this is probably impossible. Let's imagine ourselves without an immune system. Well, I think everyone knows that people who have HIV or AIDS have a very weak immune system, to the point of its complete absence. That is, any infection, any bacteria can just knock a person off track. This works on a physical level. And on the subtle plane, there are chakras for this. So imagine that chakras are a kind of immune defense system. That is, it's our immunity. It's our fight against. By the way, against what? Have you ever wondered against what? Imagine going into space without a spacesuit. Firstly, there's radiation. Secondly, there are small particles. Thirdly, the lack of oxygen. That is the work of strengthening the chakras is strengthening our spacesuit, and thus you strengthen your subtle body. Your subtle body is your protection. I think that in 200 or 300 years, this material will be taught in physics classes, and maybe someday my name will be mentioned too. But in any case, I know for sure that around us, not on the physical level, but on the subtle level, There are many entities, many energetic entities, energetic parasites, so-called larvae, energy drainers, and the like. No matter what you call them, these are slightly different types, but nevertheless, they all feed on our energy. How can you tell that I'm not lying right now? Just do a simple experiment. Go to a cemetery. Stay there for half an hour without any particular reason. You will feel how you immediately lose strength. But by the way, not everyone, some on the contrary, will gain strength. Bright people lose strength because entities start to revolve around them and connect to them immediately. If, of course, their chakra system is weak. And people who are more naturally inclined to be vampires, on the contrary, draw energy from there. Because there are many different people at the cemetery who lose and leave their energy. And these vampires can absorb it. But most people, of course, will lose strength. That is, you did absolutely nothing. You just came and sat down. Nevertheless, you lost energy. Why? Well, because at that very moment, our protection against energy, entities around us starts to work. And if you haven't set up a strong protection, you will simply lose everything that is within you. That is why I highly recommend, even if you never intend to delve into the topic, the serious topic of CDs, such as superpowers, time management, life management, reality management, astral projections. Nevertheless, I highly recommend you pay attention to my course, Chakras and Superpowers. You can disregard superpowers as such. But in this course, I provide a general understanding of how you should properly align yourself. Chakras are not meditation. Chakras are a lifestyle. It's about how ready you are to embrace life, how ready you are to be a warrior, how ready you are to be a god, how ready you are to be a lover, how ready you are to be a boss in your organization, how ready you are to be a speaker, how ready are you to be a visionary, and how ready are you to be a communicator with the universe. These are our chakras. This is what is not told in 99% of books. I don't know for what reason, but books, especially the ones I've come across, are just filler. And the first books that I really started began to shed light on the world of chakras I read in the JC75 clan, which I recently talked about, by the way. That's the clan I'm part of. And there I really talked about the fact that there is a certain library in this regard. And there were, short pamphlets. They are 5 or 6 pages long, but after reading them, you understand the full power. And you understand all the strength and the ability to correctly direct yourself towards the chakras. How does it work? In fact, you can read a lot of books on driving, you can read tons of books. They can be huge books. But to drive a car, you need to read the basic rules. How to start the engine, how to shift gears, how to press the clutch, and so on, and then practice. Chakras work in the same way. You can read millions of books from various pseudo-masters who, by the way, have never touched esotericism, who have never touched any of the CDs, but they know everything. I think that a diner will appreciate a chef who is good not in theory but in practice. I think you have all seen what I demonstrate, and I think you have no doubts that this is true. If this is true, then probably I understand not only this, but also what truly leads to super abilities. And this is primarily our chakras. What else would I like to say? What personally helps me in life is the ability to work harmoniously with visualization. I do not use visualization as some kind of third hand, not at all. Visualization for me is a helper for emergency situations when I can't solve the situation with simple things, when I can't solve it by involving my friends, influential people. That's when I turn to visualization. Do you know why? Because all these connected people, the powerful of this world, they all pale in comparison to the one who connects during visualization. Yes, it's our Creator. The Creator determines. But it also needs everything to be explained very clearly. And for this, I highly recommend people to use certain techniques of so-called deprivation. Deprivation is the ability to disconnect some image, sensations, a way of thinking. For deprivation, I very often recommend disconnecting our internal dialogues. Try to think for a while only in images. Yes, I know it's difficult. I know that thousands of words become unnecessary, useless, but it's great. For me, it was quite a revelation that I could use about 30 to 40 images a day, and my mind was free. I could do whatever I wanted. Meanwhile, my fantasies materialize very quickly, and I don't spend much energy on mental processes. That is, I am engaged in some activity, not in thoughts. And what else I would like to tell you today? Yes, probably that's all. We will probably be wrapping up our video. I hope my reflections will guide you in the right direction. If you have any questions, you can always reach out, ask me. You can see my Telegram right here. It's no secret to anyone that this is my only Telegram in which you need to write. And if I don't respond, probably I'm just busy. Believe me, I read all your messages. And if I understand that someone really needs help, I respond. Or I will respond in time when I have the time. I recommend you listen to this video a couple more times so that you understand in which direction you need to think through, because very often such videos find their recipient completely by chance. A person needs some help and they stumble upon my video. They absolutely don't understand why they need this video, but in it they find answers to the questions that concern them, which are absolutely unrelated to the topic of superpowers. Friends, I hope today's video was interesting and useful to you, so write in the comments what else you would like to hear, and I will try to answer all your questions. Stay healthy, take care of yourself, your family, and loved ones. This was your teacher, Ernst Veter.